back to Kerbal Space Program. As you may notice, this is not my usual style of doing these videos. I am going at 4 times acceleration for this part of the video because as I recorded it originally, I forgot and left my microphone disabled again. And I really hate doing that, but sometimes it happens. I will also say that if you hear a noise in the background, it is a fan that I'm using to keep me and the computer cool enough to do this. Anyway, on to the mission. We've got the Mayflower in Duna orbit that we put there in a somewhat more lower orbit in preparation for its arrival, and sent a fuel ship up to it. And now what I've done here is I've disconnected the original drive section, rotating the Mayflower ship around in preparation of docking Fuel 1 to it, so that it will have plenty of fuel for approach and landing maneuvers, you know, getting into a lower orbit and doing a landing maneuver of some kind and so on. And so things go reasonably well at this point. We've got the standard go into docking mode and approach close, and everything seems to be all right at this point. And while it does take a little bit of bouncing around and whatnot, the docking does proceed successfully in a little bit here. Let's see, yes, this is about where I was originally going to cut away until I got closer, and here we are almost at approach, getting the target, and here we go. Basic docking, right straight on, nice and easy, right by the numbers, no problems here at all. Except for, of course, the usual bit of bouncing and whatnot, but that happens. I did notice that once docked, the crew members aboard these other sections did not show up down here, and I don't know what was with that. And so, in preparation for sending at least a couple of these modules down to the surface, I refueled them, saving enough fuel in here to handle orbital maneuvers to get this thing into a close orbit around Duna in preparation for that landing. Okay, and also in moving everything to the latest update patch of 0.20.2, everything did fine except for my alarms that I had set for maneuvers before. So Fuel 2 and Fuel 3, which had maneuver alarms before, no longer do. And I tried loading up the older version and checking there, and they were gone from that too, so I don't know what to do about that exactly. I notice also, as I'm setting up the maneuver here, that the Delta V predictions are not showing up on the nav ball, and the maneuver node is not showing up on the nav ball. I have no idea why. I went back and I set it up a couple of times to try to figure out, you know, was I doing something wrong or what? I don't know. I have since tested in 0.20 in a test save, still with all the mods loaded and everything, that on a fresh brand new flight, that Delta V estimation and burn time estimation and whatnot, and countdown to the burn time or to the node, the maneuver node on the nav ball all works, but it's not working here, and I have no clue as to why. So I set up the Duna periapsis at about 12 kilometers, the idea being do an aerobraking maneuver. And so we get up here and use Smart ASS to hold retrograde. Since we don't have a maneuver node, we just have to use the retrograde thing. And get up close to it, and then I switch back to real time and get lined up. Of course, everything you're seeing here up to this point is still 4 times acceleration. because I figured if I'm going to have to post commentary it, I'm going to go ahead and speed it up and get it done. I much prefer doing my commentary live as it happens. It's a lot more spontaneous that way. Okay, so we approach burn time, or approach the node guessing at bird time. And begin the deorbit burn, or the orbit changing burn, to lower the periapsis down close. And I bring the periapsis down to, like I was thinking, about 12 kilometers. The idea being that Mayflower was going to make a nice, spectacular aerobraking re-entry kind of thing. And so, once again, it's time to play with that and see if we'll get the maneuver node to work. It doesn't for some reason. And now, as we approach that particular moment, we will now go back to commentary recorded live at normal speed. And I'm back. And this time I actually have my microphone turned on. God, I hate it when I do that. Leave the microphone turned off crap. That is just so ridiculous. As you already know from the post commentary that I will have had to put in before this. In any event, the Mayflower, as you can see, is finally on close approach to Duna, and it is on course for a very low periapsis of 12 kilometers for an aerobraking maneuver. And just been thinking about it, and I think that two things I need to do. Number one, I need to retract the solar panels prior to the event. And I should go ahead and turn this ship retrograde. In the event additional braking is required, the engines will be pointing in the right direction. And for this event, I'll be watching the flight engineer and its apoapsis and periapsis information. Okay, and let's see, according to this, we are 17 minutes away from periapsis, that 12-kilometer altitude. So, once the ship gets into position, we'll time warp a little closer and let it realign, and then more than likely have to go through most of it in real time, but that's where things should get spectacular. This would be the first aerobraking in Duna atmosphere that I've done. Okay, we're lined up. Let's go ahead and accelerate time a bit. Come out of time acceleration and get our alignment back up again. It's going to be important to be facing the right direction. And while these guys seem to be okay with everything, I'm sure the Kerbals aboard these units are not quite so enthusiastic. I'm not sure why they're not showing either. They should be. Anyway, here we are, 4 minutes away from the action. Let's go ahead. I'm going to use physics to acceleration here so that things will stay aligned. Awful lot of wobbling going on down there. Back off the time acceleration a bit. In fact, back it off all the way and then use real-time acceleration to kill some of that wobble. 2 minutes and 42 seconds from periapsis. We're clearly on the light side as the sun, but over here, for some reason, it almost looks like a sunrise. Interesting. All right, let's go at least 1 notch of time acceleration and go 2x. Alright, back to regular time. Now let's have a look out here for a moment. The apoapsis is coming down. That much is good. I should have seen that here. .20 kilometers in altitude and dropping at well over 100 meters per second. Apoapsis is continuing to come down, so we're getting some real-time braking here. It's not getting visually spectacular yet with all the flames and whatnot, but with a 12 kilometer periapsis it should. We are 59 seconds from periapsis. And we continue. And I'm going to speed up the video until we get to the fun part. Okay, we're not quite to the visually exciting part, but I noticed that the apoapsis is down to 250 kilometers and falling fast. We may actually need to turn this thing prograde and accelerate. As a matter of fact, let's do that. Turn this thing prograde and be ready to accelerate, because this thing can't land in one piece like this. It's just not going to happen. Apoapsis down to 60, 50, 40. Yes, this is turning into a crash course. Yep, periapsis just went subsurface. So we need to get this thing around. And as soon as we're pointing prograde, we need main engines. So the 12 kilometer periapsis for aerobraking was a little bit too adventurous. Alright, we're coming around to prograde. Let's get some main engines involved. and see if we can save the day. And throttle it up some more. Throttle it up all the way. Hope the structure can take it. I hate it when this camera, I'm wanting to make the camera go this way, and it, damn, blasted orbital camera. Surface. What is our current heading? 192. Let's have our pitch be, say, 45. Execute. That's an up pitch. Start getting some vertical velocity going up. Otherwise, this thing is very, very, very close to a major crash landing, which would mean the loss of all Kerbals aboard and totally blowing the mission. Okay, full thrust here. We are still descending way too fast. Surface, vertical velocity. Vertical speed is still negative 53 meters a second. And this ship might just be too heavy to save it. Certainly hope not. Come an awfully long way. 401 days. Been through a nightmare of navigation. We're still losing velocity. Let's pitch it over to 35 degrees. See if that increases the horizontal velocity and maybe does something about increasing vertical speed going up. But no, it's going in the wrong direction. All right, 50 degrees, 55 degrees, whatever, 60. Now it's just a desperation move. Let's get as much thrust pointing away from Duna as possible, because it looks very much like this ship is going to be scattered over about 10 kilometers of Duna's surface. 3,000 meters altitude. Terrain altitude 300. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to lose this one. Oh. Crap tons of parts. No survivors. Well, it looks like the colonization project is going back to the drawing board. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. I'm out of here.